want me to start with the questions
Wait
I have?
for live. Yeah, and then we'll talk about this Sunday, the questions for the Sunday.
All right. Did we get any other questions?
I didn't see any more. Yeah, we're live right now,
we're
but I'm
live
going
right
to
now.
go make sure that
Hey, everybody, you need to log on.
Save it. There you go.
Wave at
Who?
us when you're
Yeah.
on there.
Wave when you're on.
No one's on there yet.
Wave
We're
when
not
you're
popular,
on.
Matt.
I'm going to share
My
it.
self-esteem is crashing right now.
Self-esteem.
Yep.
If only that were possible.
I'm
your
going down.
For your self-esteem. So I'm going to say Q&A. Live Q&A. No, not love.
No one's there.
Live
No one cares.
Q&A about practical parenting. Practical parenting.
Casey.
Yeah. Somebody's on there. Somebody's
there
on
we
there.
go. We got someone watching.
Hey.
Ooh, see Casey back there?
Yes, you are in there.
Hey,
There's Zach.
Zach.
There's Zach.
Kinda.
Zach's in the house. Remember that? Wasn't it Kids in the Hall? You remember when they did that? They'd be in like a park and be like,
Yep.
got you. We are juvenile, as you can tell.
Very much
We're
so.
going to answer parenting
Yeah,
questions.
we're gonna. Maybe that's why we enjoy parenting so much.
It's going to be
just
great.
Have to parent ourselves.
We're going to answer parenting questions. All right, so welcome to our Tuesday, 11:30-ish. We always say, lunchtime. Live Q&A.
Hey, Lauren, there we are.
That's right. What's up? You just missed your husband walking by. Yeah. You can rewind and listen to that. Watch him in a minute. We're going to talk about the series, Q&A that came from the series that kicked it off this week. Donnie, you did a great job. There was 101 examples of how to be a good parent. No, it was how many?
Only 19.
19 principles. 19
principles.
And honestly, we did it back in like February or March.
Yeah, we did a parenting
And Donnie did those same. Did you have 19 then?
Yeah, there were 19.
Yeah. Did the same thing, but he was able to do it over like an hour and a half thing. And you said we have a link to that, right?
We should, yes.
Okay, so we think we have that.
I said it. We should.
Yeah, I think we have that recorded.
Oops.
Oh, my goodness. You may want to go unplug that.
We may have to fix that.
Yeah. Donnie's going to go unplug it. That wasn't unplugged from Sunday. That's all right. Look at him go. He's like lightning.
No worries, I'm back.
Like lightning. We had a few questions come in between services and things like that from this Sunday. A couple of them are actually more driven for this coming week,
yes,
which I'll share more about in a minute. But let's go to this week. I wasn't here. I didn't get any questions, but
okay. Well, one of the ones that I got was what do we do to establish boundaries with social media and gaming? So one of the things that's unique to parenting now is the use of technology. Now it doesn't absolve. I got to get rid of that little guy right there. Sorry.
What's that? Okay, there you go. Yeah,
right in the face. The use of technology and how do we monitor our kids and not use technology as a punishment, but as helping to teach them discipline.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll talk about the discipline side, and then you've got some great resources and tools that you've used with your own kids as far as how to monitor the actual amount of time on technology. So one of the things that I just reiterated in that moment was we've got to remember, no matter what issue we're dealing with, whether it's technology or behavior, bad behavior, whatever, our goal as parents is to establish discipline within our kids. And so if they aren't, when we look at their use of technology, we can't get mad at them for wanting to use technology. It's something unique to our society.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to take a step back and figure out, why am I so irritated with my child? What is it about this situation that's causing me so much anger that I want to throttle them and throw them into the next world, maybe even. So is it the use of time? Is it do we think they're lazy?
Yeah.
Are they having unhealthy behaviors? So at that point in time, we aren't using technology as a punishment or the absence of technology as a punishment. What we want to do is help them learn discipline.
Yep.
So no matter how old your child is, what tools are you giving them to learn discipline? Time management, exercise, or whatever the case may be that's causing you to.
All right.
Sorry, I got a light there.
There's Nate.
Causing you to.
I don't know, Nate.
Them.
I don't know.
Yes.
Q&A from last week.
Yeah, there was a Q&A last week.
Was there? Did Shin do one?
Was that last week?
That was last week.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Nate.
Okay.
Stop giving me rabbits, man.
To chase.
It's a little squirrel running around.
Discipline. The goal is discipline.
Yeah. Teaching our kids discipline. Is there discipline, and what tools are you going to give your child to discipline them?
Correct.
So, because our ultimate goal, again, is to raise adults, not kids.
Yep.
Because at some point in time, they're going to have to self-regulate and manage their time. And how are we going to make
when you think about your parents being angry with you for how much TV you watched, okay? And that was just parked in front of the big, giant, glowing screen at your house after school or on Saturday morning, and your parents got mad at you. Your parents were raised where TV came on at night. Mm-hmm. It was, I mean, if I even had it, it was a special thing. It was like an event versus an all-day thing. We're dealing with our kids. No commercials, all binge watching.
It's in their pocket.
On device. So you go back to the issue of this is not unique problems that we as parents are facing. Our parents faced the same thing. It was just a different tool, or it was a different thing. But the core, like you said, you got to get to the core. So is it time? Is it discipline? Is it making choices? Is it whatever the case is? And that's what I feel like you should be correcting, not the technology's bad.
Right.
The technology's bad. It's causing the problem. No, technology's not causing the problem. I mean, well, I'm talking more about it on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about, even if we look at technology in the essence of cyberbullying and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Cyberbullying isn't new. It was called bullying.
Yeah, it was just bullying. Yeah.
And relationships haven't been poor now, and people haven't been spouting off just now. We just have a bigger platform, so that teaching discipline is still the same. Like, how do you show love to another person? How do you overcome the abuses of other people? How do we learn to forgive? How do we learn to properly defend ourselves? Those are all things that are that have been around for years, centuries.
Yep.
But how we handle them, all we have to throw in there is technology now.
Is technology, or like I said, I think this Sunday I'm talking about how the playground or party is just much bigger. Mm-hmm. And you think about the fact that when we grew up, it was who we saw on the playground or who we were going to go meet to play. Or when we were older and teenagers, it was like who's at the party.
Right.
And your parents were just as concerned about who was on the playground and who was at the party. And the difference with social media is just that the party and the playground are bigger.
Yep.
The party and the playground are bigger, and therefore it doesn't change the problem that we're trying to solve. It changes. It doesn't change how you solve the problem. It just changes what the fact that the scope of social media makes it.
And the problem might be more available.
More available, more. I mean, our kids are having to make more choices than they didn't have to make before. Like, just leave. Just get your ball and leave. Well, they don't want to leave, and they don't.
We didn't want to leave when we were little.
That's true. We didn't want to leave either. Yeah, it's like, but I want to play. Yeah,
but I didn't want to go.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. Did you said something about? Did you say about video games? Right.
So one of the things, if you guys have any boys, I haven't heard too many girls playing it, but there's this beautiful game out there called Fortnite.
Oh, Parker plays it.
Oh, Parker plays it.
I'm not like crazy, but she plays it. She likes it.
I've never had a parent complain about the use that
That's
girl
true.
has.
I'm about to say you're right. You're right.
But I've had plenty of
boys.
Parents talk about how they want to break the machine over their kid's head for the boy.
Yeah.
Boys have typically wanted to play games more than girls by nature over the years. So what are some of the tools? Because it's an online game.
Yes.
Is it? Can you play
it's
it
an online
without
game.
being online?
You can. You can't play it without being online, but you can play it on several devices. You can play it on phones.
So you can play it on your phone. You can play it on Xbox.
You can play it on all the consoles. You can play it on the computer. Yep.
So what I was suggesting is there's some. I know you use the Circle.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can control the internet connection. Or
correct. So think about this. We've tried a few things in our house. We've tried Net Nanny. We tried that for devices. It was very clunky to me. I struggled with that because you had to go through their browser, and it was not. Anyway, it was just clunky for me. There's a few other ways that we've locked down Chrome, Google Chrome. You can lock down certain settings on Chrome. And obviously, all this has to do with the age-appropriate thing you're talking about Sunday in terms of kids. But yeah, one of the better ones we found was it's a box called Circle. And Disney makes it. So it's a box called Circle, and it goes between your Wi-Fi router and the device.
Okay.
So you don't. It's kind of a dummy-proof thing. It's Disney. They did a good job.
Right.
It's like almost
Disney
feels like an
does
Apple product. You
everything
just plug in and connect the device, and then you're done. And so some parents don't like it because it slows the internet down. Whatever. You got to do a little bit of work to look at an IP address and say, well, that's my son's phone versus that's my. Sometimes it doesn't have the right name on it. Like doesn't say mine say Apple TV or whatever. So you can basically anything that uses internet in your house you can regulate. And so you can put filters on it. And so like our whole house is under a house filter, meaning that even if my kids give one of their friends our Wi-Fi address, their devices are still under our house filter.
Oh, okay.
So the house filter is so no one can stumble on pornography. Nobody can, say, hey, I want to show you something, and then they get blocked. Obviously kids can figure it out and go somewhere else that doesn't have a filter. But at our house anyway, we have a whole house filter. Then we have a certain profile set up for different family members and the devices they have. And the best thing I like is not just the time limits, because you can put time limits on. Like Fortnite was an example. Thomas, who plays Fortnite the most, has a time limit for Fortnite.
Gotcha.
That's it. He has also a time limit for online games because he has other things he likes to play, but he has a time limit for Fortnite, period. And when that time limit is done,
the game shuts off?
Game shuts off and doesn't work.
That's beautiful.
Because it cuts the internet off for that device. So we set it up. Our kids hate Circle because it does constrict them, and that's just something we've done for one of the things I love about Circle, by the way, is that on the app on your phone, at any point you can just hit pause and the whole house shuts down. That is talking about wielding incredible power. But again, you don't want to do that to punish your kids, as Donnie talked about on Sunday. Go back and listen to Donnie's message. You do not want to use that to punish your kids. You use that as a guide for just discipline in their life. And so I'm going to talk more Sunday about some of the challenges that social media does bring to the table in terms of being overly connected in technology. I want to talk about the positive things, and I want to talk about the mission of parents hasn't changed no matter what technological advancements have ever been made in our entire generations upon generations upon generations of people living. The goal of being a parent has not changed. So it doesn't really matter what advancements are made. Our kids we were raised in a very different environment than our parents. Yep. Our kids are being raised in a very different world than we were raised in, and your grandchildren, your kids' are gonna have a completely different experience. But it doesn't change what we're called to do as parents. Right. Which is why I love Donnie's message last week about how practical those the parenting can be and needs to be, and you need to stay focused on that stuff. But like I said, Circle's a good tool. There's other tools out there. And again, for me, it's more of if it doesn't help you as a parent, let me just put it this way. If it doesn't help you as a parent, do the ultimate thing you want to do, which is help guide your kid in the decisions they make. Right? If it's not helping you do that, then I wouldn't try to use it. Again, if you're thinking that you can buy a device that will solve your problems and filter everything for your kid that you would not want them to see, that doesn't exist. I mean, listen, Disney has its own agenda. Netflix has its own agenda. I do not let the Netflix filter for my children what they can and can't see. I mean, we use it so that they can't be exposed to certain things. But just because something's under the teen filter, I'm not going to let Parker watch. It doesn't matter that she's, So it goes back to, I'm not letting them do that. I'm not letting Disney decide through Circle what they do and do not see. It's just a tool to help us as parents make decisions and help work through the ideas of guidelines of how they can approach technology.
And one of the other things I really strongly encourage you to think about as well, when it comes to any technology, like our girls, they weren't allowed to get Snapchat till they were 17.
Yep.
Why did I make an abstract age of 17? Because quite frankly, most people that want Snapchat are under the age of 17. And by the time they're age 17, they're mature enough to handle the temptations that exist.
Yeah.
And honestly,
let me give a side note. I do not think, this is your pastor talking, I do not think anyone should have to lie to get their children on a social media site. Because your 11-year-old thinks they have to have Instagram. I'm not trying to put guilt on you, but you should not have to lie, because there are already guidelines on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and those things that you have to be a certain age to be involved in, and that's a minimum age that you as a parent need to decide when you're, what you feel like is good. I'm not going to say anymore. Okay.
And so the other thing that they have to see is what we model ourselves. So like, our girls with the whole Netflix and movies and all that stuff, and people have laughed at me my entire life because of this, but the movies I wouldn't let my kids watch, I didn't watch.
You didn't watch, right.
Because I wanted to model for them so that when they get older, that they saw dad and mom monitoring what they watch their whole entire life, just as much as what we want them to monitor what they watch when they get older. Why? Because my whole goal has been to give them the tools to be able to get out of my house and live by some moral compass.
Yeah.
So all that we do, if we don't model for our kids what we expect out of their behavior, all we're doing for them is telling them at some point in time they're going to become old enough. Old enough to do what? Old enough to sin.
Old enough to do whatever they want.
That's basically what we've done.
Yeah.
So when you get older, the sin doesn't matter as much. That's really what we've said by the way that we model our behavior. And so, because again, if we're punishing for control, then that's the message that you can communicate. But if we're modeling it because we want to show them discipline, this is how mommy and daddy guide their lives, then this is the parameters that we put into place. My girls have seen me. I'll tell you this. So like for a long time, because of my own personal struggles, I had X-Watch on here. Well, it became really clunky and didn't work and was worthless.
Yeah.
So instead of having X-Watch on here, and my boss was my accountability partner.
Right.
So what I ended up going to, I have Josh has my passcode.
Yep.
He set the passcode for my own phone so that I can't delete or go to things that I don't want to go to.
Right.
So I can't add apps. I can't add stuff that unless I go to Josh, who is a coworker, and ask him for permission to get on my phone. Why do I do that? Because I'm a child? No, because I know I'm a weak man.
Right.
So I put into place, and my kids have grown up watching dad set his own parameters for discipline.
Correct.
So they know that they have to establish their own discipline. So again, it all comes back to what are we modeling for our children and why? What are we trying to get our kids to understand? Because our kids all have different struggles. What are we helping them put into place to guide their own behavior when they get out of the house?
And let's face it, control is easier.
So absolutely.
Control is easier. And I won't disagree that when kids are younger, like Charlie, we just control it.
Sure.
That's just the way it is. It's age appropriate. But the goal is not to control what my teenagers and teenagers are doing. My goal is to guide them in making decisions. So they're going to have to make choices for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And just like choices as to what apps I choose and what I'm going to expose myself to or not expose. I mean, yes, there's a certain amount of age appropriate. You want to save. You want to do your best to control some of that, but it doesn't stop your kid from making the choices whether they're in your home or not your home. Same as us.
Yep.
I knew whose friend's house to go to.
I knew where I could get whatever I wanted.
Yeah, whatever I wanted to do. So the goal again is in terms of just helping discipline, taking Fortnite away, putting parameters around TV time or game time. These are all things that you're doing to help guide them in making decisions and help parenting them to be adults that are going to be making decisions for the rest of their life. Right. I'm with Donnie. The last thing you want your kids to think is, well, when I get old enough, none of it will matter.
Right.
I can make whatever decision I want and it won't matter. That is so not what you want your kids to do.
You're just prepping them to make a lot of really bad decisions.
A lot of bad decisions. So let me dive into what we're going to do this week.
Let me tell you one thing before you do that. The biggest thing I really want to encourage parents, because it's really easy to get frustrated or discouraged, like, crap, I screwed that up.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged. I mean, I know that parenting can be very discouraging, but just look at it as, okay, what can I do from this point forward? What are some of the things that I can do to make a difference in the way that I engage with my child, no matter what age your child is? Because at the end of the day, our kids are going to go off and make decisions all on their own.
Yeah.
Okay. My only goal is to make sure that when and if the Holy Spirit gets a hold of them, that they know what to come back to. And God willing, they make great decisions the whole time. But the reality is we're human, and that doesn't always happen. So again, even with Charlie, I mean, you're more controlling,
yes,
but it's still to create discipline because you're teaching her authority.
Yes.
You're teaching her to submit to the authority of the control.
Yep.
And that goes back to what I was talking about on Sunday too. So all along the way, no matter what age our kids are, we're helping them learn this idea of discipline in their own lives because it transcends everything that we do. So wherever you're at in your own walk, even if you think you've made mistakes, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it does matter, whatever. Don't get discouraged. Just say, okay, what am I going to do from this point forward?
Yeah.
That's really what
and feel free to backpedal. Like, feel free to say, and I think it's a genuine thing when you tell your kids, I mean, your kids will be mad, well, I used to have unlimited Fortnite time. Yeah, that was a bad decision on my part.
Yeah,
I mean, just
exactly.
tell them. As a parent, I've changed my mind. That was a bad decision. I don't know if I made the right decision.
Right.
I tell my kids all the time, sometimes I'm really slow to give them an answer on something. And I tell them, because usually when I'm quick to give an answer, there's a really good chance I'm going to come back and change my mind.
Yep.
And for them, they understand that, well, don't push dad because,
right, because usually if it's quick, they're going to dislike it even more.
Yeah, and then it's like, you know what? No, I'm taking that away. Kids want to have all this. Well, you can't do that. You already gave it to me. You already gave me my phone. You already did. I'm sorry. And I'll talk more about this on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a big principle that we as parents are by ourselves not living very well, that our kids are reflecting to us, and we hate it. Mm-hmm. But it is, and it comes into play with technology and social media, that I'm going to talk more about Sunday, that really has to do with why does parents don't feel like they can take phones away or shut game systems off or do some of the things that they now feel like they're stuck, you know?
Yeah.
And they do kind of feel like sometimes they'll hear a message like last week or like what's going to come up this Sunday. They'll hear it and they'll be like, "Oh, I just can't do that. I've lost my time. I've lost my moment." You really haven't. So that's where I would say the Sunday. So go back to this Sunday. We're going to talk about technology and social media, and because it is something that we've had people, even in the parenting academy, people bring it up a lot in terms of general concerns. So this week we're going to poll through social media and through Facebook on Journey's Facebook and through email. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your issues that you're dealing with. And on Sunday through the message, my goal is to bring about those questions and use those questions as a way to help derive the conversation for where the majority of our church finds themselves. So this is a really important week to make sure when you have that thought, you send it in. So we're going to do that throughout the week. I'll probably send the email tomorrow. We'll do Facebook and stuff throughout the week and just kind of drive it towards this weekend. But it's a big deal for a lot of parents, and I understand feeling over. I as much as I love technology, I constantly feel like I'm having to learn because my kids are even when as young as they are, they're ahead of me. Yeah. They're ahead of me in certain things because they're exposed by their friends and schools and everything else.
Every new app
and everything that comes out, you're just like, and I feel like I'm constantly having to read and learn and look for things. It doesn't end, and that's me. I'm technology driven, crazy. So I want you to know I'm in it with you. And we want to talk about it in a way that's practical, just like this series is. So, cool.
One other thing on that, you just made me think something practical. On most servers, most of your carriers, because one of the other concerns a lot of parents have is, well, I can control my internet connection, but I can't control what they get on their phone. I believe that most carriers have an app that you can control what your kids can and can't go to and how much internet time they can actually get to on their browser. And you can actually shut it off and just give them texting and
cell phone
signal
texting,
opportunities. But I think that's through your carrier. And I don't know if
all
Circle
has it too.
Even on your...
So Circle, you can buy the box, and it's a one-time thing, like $50 or $60. And then Circle now has, I think it's $5 a month, and you can
put it onto their phone
devices.
So there are...
And it matches your home. It matches your home stuff.
So that'd even be better.
But most carriers, Verizon has one. I know that for sure. T-Mobile, AT&T, T-Mobile, I know has one. So I mean, you don't use it to you don't do those things so you can blindly go, okay, that's taken care of.
Right.
But man, if it's a tool to help you parent, use it.
Yeah. Just because it's about helping them learn. Honestly, what it comes down to a lot of times is time management.
Yeah.
It's really easy, and if you don't think it is, just look at your own battery usage.
Yeah.
It's really easy to lose track of time. And oftentimes that's why we get mad at our kids, because they're losing track of time because we've been on Facebook the same amount of time they've been on Fortnite. And then we're mad that we got caught, so we take it out on our kids because they've been on Fortnite just as long as we've been on social media.
Probably less time that you've been on social media, but you're an adult, so I guess it doesn't matter. So, anyway, everyone's excited about Sunday.
Yeah.
Yay!
Throwing shade there, Matt.
All right. Yeah. So that's it for today. We did 20 minutes again. That's good. Let us know if you have any more questions. You can add questions at the bottom of this comment to go to the social media stuff and technology. We'll try to weave that into Sunday, but we look forward to doing the rest of this practical parenting series. What's our next series? Do you remember?
Evangelism. No.
Yes.
No emotions.
As you go. No, next one's As You Go.
You're right.
As You Go. So we're doing
As You Go. Yep.
After that week, we're starting a new one. After next week, we're starting a new one that's about how we share our faith and how we share our story. So we're excited about that. All right, guys. Have an awesome
Reaching
rest
everyone
of your...
for absolute hope.
That's right. That's exactly right. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, guys. Thank you.